Hello, my friends. Welcome to Agile Principal Run and Cut with my buddy Roy. Roy, how are you?
I'm doing awesome, Phil. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's really nice to be able to collaborate with you again. And today it takes us straight into our topic, which is about customer collaboration over contract negotiation.
Yeah, it's a good topic. It's a really good topic. So let's talk through this one a little bit. So um, let's define what a contract means in this context. We're talking about the Agile Manifesto, right? The third value, sorry, in the Agile Manifesto. And this is about customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So let's define contract. So the contract in this case is more about what the customer is requesting. You know, what are they asking for? And customer is a little bit of a fuzzy word, right? It can mean internal, external, users, the whole kind of stuff, right? So it's anyone buying, getting value out of using in any way the product that you're building. So the contract is the request for something that you're building. Now, it could be in the form of an actual contract, or it could be a requirements document, whatever the form is, it's the request for stuff.
Mm.
Now, what we're suggesting in this manifesto value is that while it's important to understand what our customers want, it's more important for us to actually talk with them and to gain deep understanding of what they want. So I'm gonna say something that may be shocking, right? And I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me, right? And that is the customers don't always know what they want, right? What do you think, Phil? Do customers always know what they want?
Customers hardly ever know exactly what they want. They've got a vague and fuzzy idea that they need something, but a lot of the time they don't know exactly what it is. And honestly, by the time it evolves to what they actually do want, you've made a number of trips across the world. And I mean, it's horrible when it happens in predictive, because then there are change requests and then people are making money off the customer and so on. So I totally agree with you, Roy.
Yeah, and I think you said it right there, Phil. It's that the customers have an idea of the problem they're trying to solve. They understand, the intent, but they may not necessarily understand how to do it. And that's our job, right? The people building the product, whether you're a vendor or internal, staff, whatever, it's your job to know how to do it. The
Mm.
customer, the people getting the product, they're the ones who should say, "This is my problem. Now help me solve it. Now let's figure out how to do it together." So the thinking behind I can document all of the requirements at the beginning of a project and be 100% accurate and have absolutely no changes is ludicrous. It's never going to happen. Industry average is about 35%, somewhere around there. And the 1/3 of your requirements over the course of a project typically change. So right off the start, you can assume that at least a certain percentage, a pretty good percentage of your requirements are going to change over the course of a project. So, and as you mentioned, in the predictive world, we manage that through a change control process, change management. Now, the challenge with this change control process is that it's usually very onerous. And there's a reason for that.
Yes.
There's a reason for that. So Phil, why do you think organizations make it difficult for change to happen once a project starts? What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, they've locked down everything in the beginning and they've spent time and money getting this big old plan together. So
Yep.
any movement is going to be like a dinosaur. It's going to require so much energy for the thing to turn around in a different direction. So they got to make you pay the price for the
There it
dinosaur turning
is.
around.
Yeah, they've already paid a certain price for putting all that documentation together and spending all that time collecting all these requirements. So you should just really go off and build that document, build what was documented, right? There you go. You're going to be successful. Well, how many times have you been on a project where you documented everything exactly what the customers signed off in blood saying, "Yep, this is exactly what I want." You get to the end of the project 6 months or a year later and like, yeah, I can't use that, right? It happens.
It does all the
It
time.
does happen, and to me, the reason is that they don't always know what they want. They have an idea, and it's not necessarily the right stuff, right?
Hmm.
So, what we were trying to encourage with this value is don't just assume that what was defined at the beginning of the project is the right thing. You're not going to necessarily get success by implementing exactly what they requested. Sure, everybody can sign off, and you can point fingers at the end of why your project failed, right? But that's not our goal. Our goal is not to have someone to blame. Our goal is to have a successful project.
Hmm.
So instead of saying this is all you're going to get forever and ever during this project, instead what we're going to say is let's talk to each other. Let's define what we think
Absolutely.
we need, and we'll make changes along the way. Right? Much better success rate.
Absolutely. So, Roy, this comic strip on the screen, this project management pictogram, What do you think about this strip?
Yeah, I love this strip. So there are a few different versions of this, all really the same basic thing. It starts out with, how the customer explained it, and then ends up with how it was documented, or how it was delivered, and all. And they're usually very different views, what the customer thought they wanted versus how it was actually built. Now, what I find interesting is that many people view this as, well, here are the people that are doing it all wrong. Well, no, it's not necessarily that they're doing it all wrong. Is that what people say and what people hear are often two very, very different things. So you can document exactly what someone said, and then their interpretation of what was said might be a completely different thing. So we need to
Mm.
factor in the human factor, right? It's the human factor. People hear things in a different way. I also do like how we often do bad stuff along the way, like poor quality and adding all the bells and whistles and all that other kind of good stuff, right? So that's kind of my view of this, is that people say one thing and people hear something else. So maybe we should put together a process that brings that into the mix. What are your thoughts, Phil?
I totally agree. It just shows that if there was customer collaboration, not a big old rush to document and
Yeah.
begin to do everything from A to Z in the document, but if there was more wiggle room for people to collaborate along the way and do things in iterations, then you wouldn't end up with a comic strip like we just saw. You could have corrected it from when it started going wrong. From the first delivery, you would have kind of caught that
Yep.
this is not adding value. And so I think we've got a lot to learn in the world of predictive. I know there are going to be a lot of predictive zealots that watch our show and they couldn't care for some of the things we're saying, but
Sure.
they're going to have to start listening to what we're saying, because there's no way you can continue into the future with technology changing by the minute, with this
And
predictive approach.
And in fairness, I'd say that some of our sessions, maybe some Agile folks won't like hearing what we say either. So, well, I think we're playing it pretty fair here, right? Trying to get to the reality of,
Yep.
these processes, and not just, a single statement.
Yeah.
So Phil, what I do find interesting, just very quickly on this, I find interesting is that the reason a lot of folks feel that documenting everything up front is the right thing to do, is because it allows you then to be very predictive. You can say,
Mm.
this is what we're going to build, and we're going to build it exactly by this date, and it's going to come out exactly this way. But I can't tell you how many projects I've seen. I'm sure you've seen the same thing, that we have cost overruns, we have
Mm.
change requests, we have all kinds of things that go wrong, we have impediments and risks and all kinds of things that go wrong. A significant percentage of projects go awry very, very, very quickly. So just because you've documented up front doesn't mean that you're going to guarantee success in your project. It doesn't work like that. The
Mm.
statistics show it. So stop believing that if we can document it, it's going to be all good. It doesn't work like that. So maybe some more experimentation and adaptation would be a better approach. What do you think?
I absolutely agree, Roy. More experimentation, my friends, more adaptation. Thank you very much for joining us. And if you've got any questions, if there's anything you want us to talk about, put it in the chat, the comments below, wherever you are, whether you're looking at this on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. Look for that box and put in your question. Thanks for joining us. And from me, bye for now. And from Roy,
Take care.